Hello watch enthusiasts and welcome to Watch Chronicler. The Omega Seamaster 300M has turned 27 and is by now extremely well known. We've all been told about its on-screen battles against villains trying to laser the world, control the media or undermine MI6, and most memorably it was on the wrist of Daniel Craig in the final act of Casino Royale, during which time it witnessed the unparalleled beauty of Lake Como and hauled Vesper Lynd from a sinking building in Venice. More importantly though, it also saved Omega from a worsening collection of Seamaster, Speedmaster and Constellation models in the late 80s. However, each watch tells a story, and this Seamaster is mine. It's one of my most cherished watches, and a watch which has been by my side through a lot of different events. I wouldn't normally produce this kind of video, but today I'd like to tell the story of this particular watch. Before I begin, remember to like, share and subscribe to see more here in future, and follow Watch Chronicler on Instagram to see daily photos and previews of all the best articles, videos and podcasts which we post. Speaking of articles, head over to our website to read full articles about the great and the good of the watch world, alongside being able to catch all of our podcasts. The story of my Seamaster 300M began in 2018 when I bought it from a used dealer in London. It was already 2 years old at the time, and who knows what sort of life it had led before that. In any case, I had quite some trepidation buying what was, at the time, the most valuable watch I'd ever owned. When it arrived, I was struck by its proportions, its slim case and its immaculate finishing. The design was sensational and, as I well knew, far bigger than just being handsome. You see, the Seamaster 300M was launched in 1993 as a resurrection of the Seamaster name after watches like the Seamaster 200. This was, whilst on occasion fitted with a very interesting quartz movement, a relative low point for the Seamaster. With inferior features to the contemporary Rolex Submariner and a design very seriously stuck in the 80s, it really was a dead end for the brand. As pointed out by Omega's advertising, the new Seamaster 300M was a link between the past and the future. Taken to a depth of 80 metres in Lake Neuchâtel by freediver Roland Specker, it was immediately a capable instrument and demonstrated to be one. Even so, all brands have ambassadors, yet the Seamaster 300M was still to have its real breakthrough. A breakthrough to propel Omega to restored greatness. Chosen for Bond, lest we forget a naval commander, as the choice of the Royal Navy in the 1960s, the Seamaster 300M became the watch to show Omega that it could use its history as a selling point, as seen with the Omega Speedmaster over the last 2 decades. Aside from this, it also became the watch to have for an entire generation of British soldiers, airmen and naval officers, which is no mean feat for a relatively new design. But where did this leave me with my Seamaster 300M? Well, it left me with a watch so eminently capable of impressing a young lover of watches that it was almost laughable. The quality was far beyond my Tudor Heritage Ranger, and the fit on the wrist was pretty much ideal. After all, nobody really needs a watch to survive 300 metres of water, yet being capable of doing so whilst remaining more comfortable than most dress watches for me was truly remarkable. I even enjoyed the helium escape valve, which allowed me to make no end of Bond-esque excuses for its existence, much to the amusement of my friends. Needless to say, it rarely left my wrist. On the metal bracelet it was cool and sharp, on a soft calfskin strap in blue it was elegant, and on a NATO strap it looked capable of taking on any kind of abuse. The version of the Seamaster which I have is in many ways a transitional piece. Sandwiched between the last variant to include an aluminium bezel and the first to include a new all-in-house movement, it is for me the best of both worlds. Its design also shows a delightful hybrid of new and old, with a simple glossy dial and applied numerals to match the modern ceramic bezel, and a case which screams 90s design with curves which might not be so successful today. In 2018, courtesy of a friend, I had the opportunity to explore the wonder that is Lake Maggiore in northern Italy aboard a stunning vessel. Bought by chance for a fraction of its value a while ago, this boat which I was given the chance to drive was one of 3 Vidoli race boats produced in the 1960s. Amongst the other 2, one was lost and the other crashed. Suffice it to say that I was thrilled to have a go in this boat. Much like I do Tommaso Pantera, the gorgeous wooden Italian hull and white leather interior housed an American heart, in this case a Cadillac engine. However, on the mill pond which was Lake Maggiore on that day, I could wear no watch but my Seamaster. After a day of wonderful Italian food and tearing around in the summer sun, I could be sure such a wonderful opportunity would be a once-in-a-lifetime event. In any case, having my Seamaster on the wrist meant that I would always have a bit of this memory with me, along with a little scratch on the lug for good measure. The second occasion which has shaped my enjoyment of this watch was learning to ski in it. As many will know, I am half Swiss, and so it seems rather embarrassing that I've never learnt to ski. In any case, under the instruction of a pair of friends, I was brought into the world of skiing with, I must admit, more than just a little bit of trepidation. I ended up in Austria, where I had the chance to enjoy beautiful weather and shallow slopes, which I must admit presented quite the challenge for a novice. Even so, on a long strap from Zulu Alpha straps over the top of my jacket, in an involuntary homage to Gianni Agnelli, my Seamaster remained ever accurate, and through all the hairiest of moments too. And that's the wonderful thing about a watch like this, or any other watch which means a lot to you. You can be in an alien environment, and yet with a glance down you have a frame of reference, and a stunning one at that. The final episode which needs recounting was when, about 2 weeks ago, I was sitting in an armchair in the living room with my copy of Ian Fleming's final book, Octopussy and the Living Daylights. With this set of short stories came to an end a series of years during which I'd always had a Bond novel on the go. For the record, I enjoyed Thunderball during the aforementioned outing in Italy, and on Her Majesty's Secret Service while skiing. As I came to the end of a book travelling at once from the heart of London's auction houses to the Caribbean, and finally the cold hard world of Cold War Berlin, something far more akin to a John le Carré novel I must say, I had also come to the end of something which I started when I bought my Seamaster. Rather appropriately, as I walked away into the kitchen, I caught the bezel and left a small scratch which I'll always now associate with the ending of the Bond novels. Of course, there's a fair argument for all this being sentimental nonsense, and I might even agree that it is. The watch industry is a fiercely commercial place, and we're often sold ideas of watches being good or bad based upon their achievements, whether in film, books or adverts. However, I think that watches are frankly too expensive for most of us to charge after the latest model or most popular style. Instead, it can be a real pleasure to buy a watch which you love and enjoy it through all the ups and downs of life. But what do you think? Seamaster owners or anyone else with a great story about their watch? Leave your best stories in the comments section below. I look forward to reading them. Remember to like, share and subscribe, and thank you very much for watching. This is Armon from WatchChronicler.com, out.